Pokemon has long been rumored to be coming to Universal Orlando Resort, and it looks like construction has finally begun. Hello everybody, welcome. Though rumors as to what was going to replace Lost Continent at Islands of Adventure have been all over the place, it now looks like it is Pokemon, and we have some clues as to what attractions are on the way. Permits filed with the city of Orlando way back in September of last year detailed out a 5-acre plot of land that was going to be demolished at Islands of Adventure, which was later confirmed to be the Lost Continent. And based on these permits, it was only going to be a portion of the overall land of Lost Continent. Now, this first phase is about 5 acres of land, and that comprises the top portion of the Lost Continent. Areas including the walkway, Mythos, and a few of the storefronts and the food kiosks were not included. And I have to say, it is about time. Sinbad closed way back in 2018, that's like 8 years ago, and then Poseidon closed in 2023, so that land has virtually sat empty for 3 years now. And we have been waiting on news for more permits to be filed in order to cover the other portion of Lost Continent. And we just received official confirmation that the Mythos restaurant is going to be permanently closing in 2027. And this closure is significant. It is the last remaining holdout there in the Lost Continent area. We weren't expecting it to go away so soon, and we don't have an exact closing date other than 2027. But what's really interesting is it appears it may not just be a simple retheme to something else, that it could in fact be dramatically transforming, possibly even flattened or bulldozed to make way for something brand new. Now, a lot of people are upset about Mythos going away because they love that restaurant, and Universal has now announced that the Thunder Falls Terrace restaurant right there in the Jurassic Park area is going to be transformed from the quick service version that it is today into more of a fine dining or sit-down table service restaurant. We're expecting it to become the new Mythos for Islands of Adventure. There's a lot of speculation on what that restaurant could be. There's talk about it being two things, one on each side of the restaurant. On one half, it could be something like Hammond's, which is a fine dining restaurant in Universal Beijing in the Jurassic Park area. And on the other side could potentially be Isla New Bar, which is a popular bar in Universal Hollywood's area of Jurassic World. If in fact this Mythos restaurant does get completely bulldozed and replaced, this definitely signals more information and more clues as to what we're getting there, and everything is continuing to point to Pokemon. Lots of insider sources continue to claim that it has been officially confirmed inside Universal that Pokemon is coming to this land. And it makes perfect sense that Mythos would be going away because Nintendo and Pokemon Company would want carte blanche when it comes to a new land. They would not just want a simple retheme of Lost Continent into Pokemon. They are going to want to do something completely new. Think about this as a massive transformation, not just a simple retheme. Think about if you were to take Lost Continent and transform it into something more like Super Nintendo World. If you've ever been to Epic Universe or Universal Japan or Universal Hollywood, you know that Super Nintendo World is completely different from anything Lost Continent. It is literally like stepping into the world of Nintendo. And if they're going to be doing something Pokemon, this is definitely something that Nintendo would demand. They're going to want to create something from scratch, completely brand new. They're not just going to want to throw a coat of paint on things. They're not just going to want to reuse existing buildings. They are going to want to flatten this area and start with something completely new. And Mythos going away signals that intent. We know that legendary Mario creator Miyamoto was involved in the creation of Super Nintendo World. They are very specific, very particular, and everything has to ladder up and has to achieve the vision of what they've created in their video game series. I expect nothing less for Pokemon. We also had a formal announcement from Universal Japan. Ishihara, the president and CEO of the Pokemon Company, officially went on record talking about the brand new Pokemon experiences that are going to be coming to Universal Japan. And Universal themselves has come out and said that these Pokemon experiences are going to be transitioning and coming also to Universal Orlando. Now, a lot of people were complaining about the fact that Pokemon has now been earmarked for Lost Continent because they were hoping it was going to go somewhere else like the Simpsons area or potentially an Epic Universe expansion pad. Some people are saying that the Lost Continent area is too small, that the Simpsons area would have been a better fit. But actually, if you look at the amount of acreage, it's quite a bit different story. Super Nintendo World over at Epic Universe is only about 8 acres in size in total, Lost Continent is also coincidentally about 8 acres in size when you take the entirety of the land into account. Believe it or not, the Simpsons/Springfield area in Universal Studios is only about 3 acres. It feels massive, it feels huge, it has all those restaurants, that large Simpsons attraction, but it is really only about 3 acres in size. So Lost Continent, in fact, is almost triple the size of the Simpsons area. So this is actually good news because they're going to have more space to play with in Lost Continent, and it still reserves the Simpsons area for something new that we don't even know about yet. Hopefully it's something that fits in a little bit better with the theme of Universal Studios and iconic epic IP adventures and classic movies versus Pokemon, which I don't feel like would fit in as well. Now, other people were talking, what about Zelda? I thought Zelda was going in Lost Continent. That was originally rumored, and I think that could have potentially been the plan, but it is now pivoted away from that because the belief is they're just not ready for Zelda yet, and they can't keep waiting for the Lost Continent to do something with it until they are ready with Zelda. And the fact that they're already moving on attractions for Pokemon in Universal Japan means that they are able to move faster for Pokemon in Universal's Islands of Adventure Lost Continent. Because there's a rule that Nintendo has in place that they can't do anything in the United States that they haven't already brought to Japan. And they're already working on brand new attractions in Universal Japan, likely to open sometime in 2026. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But Pokemon makes perfect sense in this area. It is a huge draw. It is supposed to be the world's highest grossing media franchise and one of the best selling video game franchises of all time. And even though Pokemon is for everybody, adults and kids alike, it is very heavily skewed for kids. And we know Universal has been wanting to get more kids attractions, more family-friendly things into their park. That's why they added things like Super Nintendo World and How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk over in Epic Universe. Bringing Pokemon into Islands of Adventure is going to be a huge draw. It is going to bring people into their parks in droves, and it also helps round out the demand for the different areas of the park. So instead of Epic Universe being the big shiny object that everybody is trying to flock to and then sort of ignoring Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, they're going to have some really shiny object in Islands of Adventure to get people to come to the resort and go to more than just Epic Universe. Now, that does kind of leave Universal Studios out in the cold a little bit, but don't worry, there's plenty of things coming to Universal Studios, like, of course, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. Now, let's get back to the attractions and what we could be getting. The way Universal has been using Pokemon so far in the past over there in Japan, they've done a Halloween party, a Pokemon No Limits parade, merchandise, Pokemon food, Pokemon meet and greets. Not a whole lot going on there, but they are building a brand new attraction there that is replacing The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. Again, targeted debut sometime this year. Japan has to get it first. So what exactly could we be getting at the Lost Continent as part of this Pokemon land? First and foremost, the copy of the ride that they are putting in Universal Japan. Current speculation on the attraction is it's going to be a dark ride, of course. It could potentially be the scoop system that we get in Spider-Man today, or a new trackless system that goes into that same building. And they talk about it being interactive and hitting all 5 of your senses. The one that has me the most curious is how they're going to bring taste into this attraction. I'm not really sure. The other ones, I can completely understand. Taste, that's kind of a wild one. And this attraction could be a couple of things that are highly rumored to be happening. Universal has yet to reveal the exact details on this attraction, but everything we know points to 2 possibilities. Number 1 is a Pokemon Snap attraction. This would be a dark, interactive ride through various scenery, various climates. This would be an interactive dark ride, most likely holding some sort of handheld camera or some sort of AR headset like a Mario Kart there in Epic Universe. Various animatronics will be in different climates, potentially some digital AR elements. And using this camera, you would be trying to take photos of the different Pokemon that you see in the wild. And your score would depend on how well you take photos, whether the photo of the Pokemon is centered, if it's tilted, what are they currently doing? Are they sleeping? You're going to get less points. If they're battling or it's hard to find, you're going to get more points. There could even be extra rare Pokemon in this attraction that you get high points for scoring a good photo of. Also expecting various different climates that you're going to go through, and then that hitting on your senses. So you think about the temperature and the smells of these different climates. You may go from really hot to really cold and have differing sensations throughout these climates. So this could end up being a really cool attraction if done right. The other big speculated rumor is it's a Pokemon battle type experience, similar to what I just described in the Pokemon Snap version, except more heavily reliant on a VR, AR headset type experience like Mario Kart, fighting Pokemon, battling in arenas, and trying to essentially capture them with some sort of Pokeball style element, essentially throwing or doing some sort of throwing motion that's going to have a ball kind of fly out and try to capture Pokemon along this journey. Basically a collection game. There could be points involved, but that's the really second big contender. The location of this attraction is most likely going to be going in the old Poseidon location. Whether they are going to completely demolish that building and build from scratch, or they're going to use the current architecture of that structure and just gut it entirely on the inside, we're not really sure. But right now it looks like the Poseidon building would be used for this attraction, which leaves the Sinbad location for something else. Again, they could completely demolish it. We know construction is happening right now, tearing a lot of the elements out of the Sinbad structure, but I have a feeling they're going to try to keep that structure intact, and this could potentially be used for a Pokemon show of some kind. We know that they are really loving building a lot of these shows. They've done like a One Piece show at Universal Fan Fest, replacing the Waterworld show there. It's very popular. They could do something for Pokemon. I think some sort of Pokemon show would be really cool there. Or they could do some sort of second attraction that we're just not aware of. The reason I'm a little bit hesitant on some second large attraction is because they haven't built that attraction anywhere else at this point. And again, it has to come to Japan first, unless they decide to change the model, which we haven't heard anything about. A Pokemon show is something that they could do a lot easier over in Japan really quickly and still get that over here into the States in time for an opening for the Lost Continent area. We're also hearing rumor of a potential battle simulator style attraction, some sort of AR, VR battle, smaller scale, more interactive experience. This is rumored to be coming to Universal Japan, which would mean we would probably get here also in Lost Continent, plenty of space for it to actually be able to create some sort of small simulator attraction. We're also, of course, expecting a lot of different meet and greets for Pokemon. That's going to be hugely popular. And one of the biggest things we're expecting is some sort of wearable trainer devices. Think about like the Mario bands that you can get in Epic Universe, Super Nintendo World. Think about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter wand experiences, things that will be interactive elements throughout the park, almost like a Pokemon Go type experience, where you can go around the park, interact with certain things, maybe choose your starter Pokemon, earn badges through different challenges and things that you experience throughout the land, and potentially even a Pokédex scavenger hunt of some kind, where you're going all around the Lost Continent area trying to find different Pokemon, possibly similar to something like the Batu Bounty Hunters over in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios. This could potentially tie in with the Universal mobile app to be able to play different things, level up, etc. So the possibilities with this are endless, and people are going to be buying these things like crazy. I mean, this is going to be the next Wizarding World of Harry Potter wands. I mean, people are just going to be buying these things all over the place. It's going to generate a ton of money for Universal. We're also expecting, obviously, the Pokemon, some sort of Pokemon restaurant experience. If they're going to be flattening or getting rid of Mythos, or maybe even just retheming it, we're going to get a Pokemon restaurant in some way. It may be more of a quick service restaurant versus a fine dining experience, but we're definitely going to get a Pokemon restaurant, themed foods, Pokemon like potion style drinks, expecting Pokeball popcorn buckets, and then of course a massive retail store of some kind, where you're going to be able to get all the Pokemon memorabilia, Pokemon merch to your heart's content. Now, expectations on when this area is going to open, we're thinking sometime 2028 to 2029 timeframe is the expectation for this brand new Pokemon area coming to Lost Continent. This lines up very well, allowing them to open the attractions over in Japan and build them there first, which gives them a little bit more time to create maybe a second attraction versus just doing a Pokemon show, or even stand up a Pokemon show in time to be able to create this. I wouldn't be surprised if they added some sort of additional like kids spinner type flat ride as well somewhere in this area, because there's a lot of land to work with. So overall, that's the news. That's what's going on. Construction has started. They are already leveling things, demoing things. It's not just the walls are up now. I mean, they are actively wrecking this area, and starting to build new. I expect additional permits with details to be coming out, hopefully more details on what attractions we're going to be getting. As soon as we know what the attraction is in Japan, when more details come out about that, we'll know exactly what we're going to be getting as one of the attractions here in Universal Orlando. So I hope that you're excited about Pokemon. Does it make sense to you now in Lost Continent as being a better option than some of the other locations? Love to hear from you down in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this content. And as always, the Noble Way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.